Hey, what is up everybody? Blaze for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going ahead and going over girl Chord, seeing that she's going to be releasing next month on the 4th, and that's only in a week. So I thought this was the best time to go ahead and release this video and tell you guys exactly everything you want to know and try to prepare as much as possible for this unit. Now we're going to split this video up in different timestamps, so be sure to look down below. But immediately, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and let's go ahead and get into the video. So Chord herself is a very interesting character. She's a support that quite literally changed the whole game of just P5X itself, meaning that she can go into any and every team. There's only 3 units on TW and KR that she currently cannot fit into, and that's just because they work off a different system. The whole thing that she relies on is mainly her highlight charges, and those 3 units, being the C's investigation team, work off of Thurgies. So with this in mind, she doesn't really help them out too much, but she still does boost their attack with their Thurgies in a certain way. So that's still a plus of this character. But besides that point here, I know a lot of you guys are trying to get your gems together, so to prepare properly here, I mainly have a notepad that's going to show off everything that you do need to know for the gem amount. You guys can take a look on the screen here. You should see the notepad that's going to be showing both the total amount of both pities if you have not even started going for the character just yet. Let's say you're on 50-50 and you haven't even hit that guarantee. A whole pity from 0 to 80 is about 12k gems, and on the off chance that you lose that 50-50, you most likely will have to go another 12k for that 80 whole total pity. That's going to go up to an amount of 24k gems, and the same can be said with the weaponry. Being that every multi is 1,000 gems, there's 7 multis that can hit pity. So let's say you have not hit that guarantee, it's gonna be 7,000, and if you do have to do the worst case scenario and go another 7,000, that's a total of 14k gems. So just for an A0R0, which is the most optimistic point you want to have Chord at, that would be about 45k gems. Now granted, this is on the worst case scenario. There's not most times where you're going to be hitting that 80 pity 24/7, so surely do keep that in mind and calculate some luck in there. But I wanted to make sure people knew the exact amount that could be at least offered for them, or at least made in front of them to get this character. But now that we went over the gems, let's go ahead and go over some other information revolving her kit. So Chord herself with her kit is insanely busted. To be honest, you can find it out on lafel.net, which is one of the few websites that we're going to go ahead and use today for this video. This is quite literally the only unit that I can say that is so universally used, seeing that she does a little bit of everything. She helps you out in the crit rate function if you're going ahead and getting the A1, which is a 15% crit rate bonus. She helps you out in attack wise. She can even heal as a supporter that does not have a healing skill, and she does highlight spamming. So this character has a little bit of it all, and this is all just in her regular kit. Starting off with the first attack being her Passionate Sonata, she does deal 85.4% of her attack, which is an electric damage attack to all enemies, and this itself does 83.3%. It's pretty darn nice to actually see, and you'll see it more in battle after we get to talking about this, so surely do keep that in mind. Now the second skill, which is going to be mainly her whole deal that we're looking at, is called Improvised Solo. Improvised Solo allows one of her people to be a loyal listener or enthusiastic audience, which increases their attack by 24%. Now this is going to be based off of her attack as well for 3 turns, up to 976% or 76 base, and only one person can exist as this at a time. So it's usually going to be your DPS who needs this buff. Alongside, we have the big boy type skill, which is the third skill, being Finale Resonance Activation. What this does is just allows you to immediately use your highlight skill without actually damaging your highlight cooldown or your highlight bar, which is a little star that you'll see later on in the video at the top right or bottom right itself. This also increases your damage of your highlight by 78%, which is really nice to good, at least to do. So you can technically spam multiple highlights in one whole rotation. The only downside is, as I said, for the C's members themselves cannot use this third skill properly, except what it does do is in charge their 30 final damage. So their 30 itself is going to get a little bit of a boost by 20.7%, which is actually pretty darn nice. Then Chord's highlight herself actually allows her 4 Phantom Thieves actions to actually receive a 45% damage bonus, which is really good to see. All allies will recover 10% of their highlight energy as well, so this can be really good for just getting your highlights back up in general. Then if we go ahead and take a little bit look at her passives, accent, and stroke, both of these are helping out your Phantom Thieves of your choice, seeing that whenever they use a highlight or third G, it will then give them an attack immediately increased by 24% by one whole turn. If it is the person who has loyal listener, or how they call it enthusiastic audience, it does increase its effect by 1.5% or 1.5x. Now with stroke itself, it does the same thing based on the highlight itself, but it instantly restores 15% of her attack plus 1350 HP to the ally. This is what makes her a little bit of a healer, and is one of the reasons why you want to use healing bonus on her, because she very well can heal some people up at the end of her turn, which is always nice to see whenever you are using a highlight. So that's always good to at least notice. But now if we went over her skills, we'll take a look at her awarenesses after. I want to show you guys at least what she can do in battle. So we're going to go straight over to there. Starting off with the skill 1, as I did say before, this is more of her attack skill. It's an AoE wide range skill itself that does an additional damage hit once you focus on the main target. As you can see right here, just putting that click, it does a little bit of damage, but that secondary hit is what does a little bit more, which is very nice for the character to go ahead and use in the long run. Then her second skill is where the bread and butter happens. If you happen to already have her A1, which automatically places this on a person, that's automatically great, so you don't have to spam it immediately. Though if you don't have the A1 and only have her A0, this skill 2 allows you to turn one person into a loyal listener, which more than likely is going to be at least your DPS of the team. Puts this buff on them looking somewhat like this, which gives them a little bit of attack bonus, some damage bonus as well, allowing them to prepare for their attack rate as much as possible. Plus with that A1, you are getting that extra crit rate out of it, being 15%, so try to use that as often as possible when you do need to. Then lastly, we have the highlight as well as her skill 3. Seeing that we both have both this turn, I'm going to go ahead and use the highlight first, which all it does is have her rocking out at a concert and gives your whole team a little bit of a buff. This buff is actually pretty darn nice, seeing it's a damage bonus buff itself, and it's for that whole 4 action. So as long as you have people who can attack or do some form of at least damage, they are getting a huge benefit out of this, but it's mainly going to help out your DPS. The other good side is going to be the third skill. As you can see, we don't longer have our highlight bonus at the bottom right. This is all gone, so we technically can't use our highlight. But with Chord, she's able to force this, so even though we just used one, utilizing our third skill here, it immediately allows us to trigger another highlight of our wanting, and then use it on anyone we really want to do so, and amplifies the damage. So it really is a good thing to go ahead and use. I think a lot of you guys are really going to invest in that as well. But now we talked about this, let's go ahead and talk about some things I want to recommend, whether it comes down to at least upgrading her skills and her teams. Alright, so chiming back into her skills, the one thing I do have to say for this character is you really want to focus her skill 3 and then her skill 2 and then being her ultimate. The reason why I go in this way is because your skill 3 and skill 2 are going to be the main things you're going to use quite often, seeing that you do need to trigger other people's highlights a lot, seeing this actually forces it, and then the skill 2, this is mainly going to be your buff for your DPS. So getting both of these skills up first is always going to be your #1 priority. Maxing them out is definitely going to help you out in the long run, so that's going to be a huge deal for you if you want to. Then of course getting the highlight itself up is going to help you out for at least that extra damage that we do get from at least using her highlight. So that allows us to do a more damage bonus for that period of time, which I think a lot of you guys really do want to go ahead and do that. Later on, if you do feel like going ahead and using her skill 1 being Passionate Sonata, this one can help you out a lot as well, seeing it does deal some decent damage with a nice follow-up attack as well. Though keep in mind, she's not meant to be a damage dealer, so if you don't want to upgrade this, it's not the end of the world. But if you do want that extra gear score, that's probably good for you to go ahead and do. Now, since we went over her skills, we're going to talk about at least her team recommendations and her cards. First thing I can say is her team wise, she can go into anywhere. As long as you need a buffer of some sort, as well as you want to spam your highlights, she can go into any type of team. So she's not restricted on that end of thing. But when it does come down to her gear sets, she may have at least 3 that you really want to focus on. The primary one that you're going to look at is going to be this set effect right here, which is going to be the best one. Many of you may already have it kind of made on at least the global side, being Prosperity and Trust. Both of these are going to help her out quite a lot. Seeing Prosperity itself gives you highlight gauge when you get into the battle by 25%, and then it also reduces your damage by 8%. And then when you pair it with the Trust card, this one itself allows you to get damage up to all party members and increase it by 8% for 2 whole rounds, which is really darn good, especially if you want to use it. So as I did say, this character does have a couple different set effects that you very well can use. I built a couple of them on the Elise TW as layouts, being the chord highlight set down here, which is going to be creation and reconciliation. This one's actually pretty darn good as well, but you don't have to use it off that. Mainly going to be different recommendations for guild bosses, so don't pay too much attention to it. As for some skills and main options that you want to do for these set cards, some things that you can go ahead and look at. The main card itself, I would advise you guys to use healing effect or healing bonus, though it could be used as attack and HP. Seeing that she does scale off of attack, HP, and defense, all of those main stats are pretty darn good, but I would say the healing bonus is what you really want to go ahead and have, seeing that you are going to be healing a little bit of your team. As for her star, I ended up doing attack, seeing that she does scale off this, but you can use crit rate if you want to. The Saturn piece, you want to go ahead and use HP or attack. Both of them do work. HP is mainly for me sustaining myself and living, so I would think that'd be the best one for you guys. And then of course, the sun doesn't change, it's always HP. As for your substats, just try to max out anything that is attack and HP, a little bit of defense as well, and if you want to add in crit rate, you very well can, but attack HP should be the main things that you're looking for. As it shows in her gear score, the attack stat is what you have right here, HP stat, and the defense stat, so that's all she really needs, so the more the better. But now that we talked about at least her main substats and her actual main stats themselves with her gear, what I have to recommend about this character and her awarenesses is try to go for the A1. It's all you really need on this unit. If anything, A0 is good enough, but if you want that extra oomph, the 15% crit rate that she does get from her A1 is actually really darn decent. It allows you to do some decent damage as well, and if you look at lefel.net, Dawn Greeting itself not only gives us the highest amount of using our skill 2 on that person automatically, but with that 15% crit rate, it really does help you out quite a lot. Now, if you're a person like me and end up having a little bit extra cash, the A6 is actually really much so worth it. Reason being for the A6 is because not only are you able to immediately spam your skill 3, which allows you to immediately use a highlight of your choice, but it reduces the cooldown for that skill 3 as well. So you're going to be able to pop that off even more times than normal. Alongside of this is all Phantom Thieves. Whenever she does use her own the highlight itself, it will increase the damage by 15% up to 2 whole stacks, meaning a 30% gauge. So every time we're able to pop this off, she is dealing even more damage, so that's even better. Now the last thing to go ahead and go over before we wrap up the video is going to be her weapon. Now her weapon I would immediately at least tell you guys to go for, mainly because Shining Star is a very good weapon itself. This weapon, if you go ahead and look at it, as you can see, increases the attack by 30%, and she starts with about 40% of her highlights. Then of course, if you end up pairing it with the skill 2, the person who she has as a loyal listener, they get 15% of an attack increase every time she uses the highlight, or they use the highlight. And this also increases by 5% up to 3 whole stacks, meaning it can be a 15% attack increase, which is really nice to see. It's just a ton more damage that you stack on, and including with her whole highlight gauge, it really does boost up a lot. Though if you want to use the 4-star weapon, it looks a little bit less cool, but it does still get the job done. The 4-star weapon itself increases your attack by 24% once it's maxed out, and after you do use her little skill 3, she is able to increase your attack by 52% for 2 whole turns, which is also pretty darn nice. Just do keep in mind, this is only going to be a one-time deal, or at least something that you won't use too often. It's only helping out your attack a little bit and not helping out her whole ordeal, which is the highlights. So surely do keep that in mind. But now we went over everything here. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if it helps you understand chord a little bit more, let me know down below in the comment section. I'm going to be trying to at least revise my content a little bit more, and I've been trying to take out some time to really get used to, I guess you could say, using a little bit more of our scripts, which I've been trying to get rid of some words and filler words that I've been saying as well. Heard a lot of you guys' feedback, so I'll be trying to change as much things as possible. But thank y'all for the support. Until next time, peace out.